Ryan Garcia failed a drug test, according to media reports. And Ryan Garcia denies having ever taken drugs. And I must tell you, this is unlike any other failed drug test that I've seen. And that isn't to say that this hasn't been duplicated. I'm personalizing it. I haven't seen it. So this is done by VADA, and the announcement gets made by Devin Haney. What? Okay, fair enough. Doesn't sound like it's true. Like, that's a really weird thing for the opponent, who, by the way, lost, to break such big of news that he would have had it got from somebody else. I mean, in a best case scenario, you have hearsay from a sore loser. It gets confirmed by Ryan Garcia. Like, none of us would know if this was even true. If they even got a negative assay back from a testing agency, we wouldn't even know that that happened. At the timeline that I'm telling this story, had it not been for Ryan Garcia, who said, yeah, that's true. Devin was given news that I failed a drug test for Austrian. I was given the same news. He confirmed it. Okay, well, that's interesting to me where I'm sitting. And the fight took place in New York. So any moment now, we will get the boring boilerplate, pre-printed, insert the name from the New York State Athletic Commission saying that Ryan Garcia, pending further investigation, is hereby suspended. But that never happened. And another week went by and it never happened. And a little bit more time went by and it turned out that there was a different drug test that cleared Ryan Garcia, or there was 2 substances that were found in his system, and now one of them's not. He's only got to deal with one. Like, it was very confusing how this came out. That's no problem. These are complicated things. We'll just ask the New York State Athletic Commission. They're the ones with jurisdiction. They're the ones that are going to handle this, and we're going to ask them as soon as they start speaking about it, which to this day hasn't happened. As a matter of fact, Ryan Garcia is not suspended. As a matter of fact, it's not pending a hearing or an investigation. There, to our knowledge, is no investigation, and there, to our knowledge, is no pending hearing. There would be nothing to have a hearing about because he has not been suspended. So you start looking at this, and this is strange. This whole thing is very weird. And Ryan Garcia's innocence isn't something that I challenge or dispute on a personal note. It's just a matter of, at this point right now, what does he want? And I'm being realistic. I'm not being a genie pops out of a bottle and can put you in a time machine and move you back to where this never happened. I'm talking about realistically, right now, with this out there, with this belief, with people like Conor McGregor who have told you to disassociate with me because of this action. At this point in time, from a realistic standpoint, what it is that you want. They're not taking your money. They're not stopping you from earning a living. Right? That would be pulling your license. That would be fining you. That would be something within the contract in an agreement where you are now getting a lien put on your property by Devin Haney until you make good on such and such consequence. Like, those things aren't a piece of it. So let me go back. What is it that you want? And the answer is for this to go away. I just want you to quit talking about it. That would be the number one thing. And so Ryan Garcia had a legal team that put out a statement today, and it was awful. It was beyond awful. And the reason it was so bad is many. But if I was to just be really broad and really fast with you, it was too in detail. They attempted to plead their case. There isn't one reasonable person. There are experts. There's not one regular reasonable person that would read that would have any idea what his legal team is even trying to say. Now, if you are an expert and you do know what they're saying, yes, I agree. It makes perfect sense. But that isn't at all my point. This is something somebody's going to click on. It's going to be very fast. You can get right to the point. Ryan Garcia has never used a banned substance, and any suggestion otherwise is flawed. The end. And if you want to be a real strong legal team that earns your keep, find a way to word it where the person reading it interprets a subtle threat that if they are to go around and say that Garcia did do these things, you're going to come after him, whether you plan to or not. That would be a good legal team. That is not what he has. This was a terrible statement, and it becomes a slippery slope. If you're saying that he did not take the substance that the test is saying, then you are going after VADA. Yes or no? Because this statement makes sure to do a lot of things, and not going after VADA's credibility is one of them. So it's yes or no. Are you attacking the credibility of VADA? Because if you are, I would believe that you are sincere within your beliefs. But if you're openly not willing to go as far as to question VADA, it puts a dent in your credibility, and they definitely did not question VADA. And where this got tested most recently was in the last presidential election that we have. There was people that came out against the voting machines saying it was rigged, and the company that owns those machines sued them publicly for making the claim and won over $70 million. So it is a big deal. If you're going to come out and say that he's clean while this test is saying he's dirty, are you taking on the testing agency or not? And Garcia's camp did not take on VADA. Okay, great. Well, that hurts your credibility. Then they went and did a hair sample. Now, a hair sample is very good science. Very, very good science. I wouldn't expect anyone to know that, which is why it's weird that they included it in the article. Like their points were very fair. And if you were in court with an expert arbiter, you're probably going to make some headway. But we're not in court. It's in public opinion, and his legal team put out an article this long where they made sure to not do the only thing that can clear him, which is challenge VADA. And there's a lot of ways to challenge VADA that won't get you in a jam, by the way, which is chain of custody. That's the number one way people beat drug tests. It's not their innocence. It's not junk science. It's not a flawed lab. It's not even a tainted supplement. The number one way all the way up to international court is to challenge the chain of custody, which again, to a degree, would be challenging VADA, which this legal team went out of their way to use a lot of words and never do. So, okay, let's go back to this hair test. They've done their own hair test. Now, a hair test is an extremely good test. Like if the FBI themselves were to go out to get a search warrant, the highest form that they could get would be for a judge to allow them to go and take hair. Like it is a very, very good test. And one of the reasons it's so good is it can go back so incredibly far. A guy could do cocaine and that's out of his system in hours. On a hair test, he could have done it 5 months ago and it could show up. Just to give you an example. So Ryan Garcia's team goes and does a hair test. And now his legal team wants to submit the findings of the hair test, of which are clean to Ryan. But there again, who are they speaking to within this long-winded article? Are they speaking to the average Joe that didn't even know this happened and they just informed them? Are they speaking to the person that's casual and sort of paying attention and knows an excuse is almost the same as an admission, of which this whole thing is an excuse? Or are they speaking to the experts in the room? Because the experts in the room are going to let them know, don't give a damn about your hair test. At all. I don't at all care about your hair test. He's not in jeopardy because of your hair test. He's in jeopardy because of a urine test he gave to VADA, and only that test. So unless you have a way to disprove this test, there is nothing else that you do. You could take a hair test today and tomorrow and the day after, and you could find something even better than that. And you could take a polygraph, and we could just keep on going through it. You're in a jam over this test. So whatever your defense is, it's got to tie into this test. Even if a weak argument, even if loosely done so, it's got to tie in and this is the one in question. So does your defense have anything to do with challenging this? I don't doubt the hair test. I don't doubt it at all. It could be doubted. Many people will. It's not as though he was there. It's not as though there was a subpoena. It's not as though we have any kind of proof that it was his hair. Man, many people could challenge it. I'm just challenging it. I don't challenge it at all. But I don't need to. It's not the one in question. There's one test in question. It was done by VADA. Are you, Team Garcia, challenging VADA? It's a straight up yes or no. And according to the article and everything you've worked so hard to distract us from so far, the answer to that, I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong. Feel free to change your answer. But as of right now, no.